Thank you, David. It's Wall of Fame night in Calgary. The Stampeders riding a 3-game win streak, entertaining the 2-8 Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Wendy's Friday Night Football. What a spectacular Friday night in the foothills. 26 degrees. Wind might be a factor as this game wears on.
Calgary Stampeders' Nick Lewis leads the league in receptions with 61 and is 77 yards away from 10,000 in his CFL career. Will he get it tonight? Well, one guy who might have something to say about that is the guy that will be covering him most of the night, the reigning outstanding defensive player in the CFL, Javon Johnson, who's moved up to linebacker and should be matched up against Nick Lewis.
Well, rookie head coach Tim Burke took plenty of heat and the blame for the Bombers' last-second loss in the Banjo Bowl last Sunday, looking for his first win, and the Bombers looking for their first road win of the year. They're 0-5 on the other sidelines. Yesterday, John Hufnagel celebrated his 61st birthday. He's been emphasizing better production at home. They did win their last home game against Edmonton, 3-2 on the year at McMahon. Tough place for the Bombers to win, haven't done so since 2002. They'll try to change that tonight. Here's DeMont Washington on the return, and he's got a good one up around the 40-yard line to set things up, and it will be Joey Elliott to lead the Bombers out on offense.
Maybe final audition for Joey Elliott, who's thrown for 1,157 yards on the season, 241 a week ago versus Saskatchewan in that close loss. Chad Simpson needs to see the ball a little bit more. Last week, just 9 carries with a nice average, 8.2 yards. And Terrence Edwards coming off a game where he led the team in receptions in the loss to Saskatchewan, on pace for 1,000 again.
Our starters to watch are brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the Canadian Football League and its 8 teams. An injured Calgary Stampeder on that kick cover, and it's the veteran Justin Phillips out of Laurier getting checked out by athletic therapist Pat Clayton. Take a look at what happened to big number 44.
First opening kickoff right on the numbers, and it looks like he's sort of feather contained, which means he bounces outside in that second level, steps up, looks like his left leg just buckled underneath him. Looked like he really took that bad of a hit and just kind of buckled.
Good look at it there. And they're a little thin at the defensive end spot. Have just signed Donovan Robinson, who will make his Calgary Stampeder debut in this game. Kenny Petway, one of the scratches at defensive end for Calgary in this game. So Phillips in some difficulty as he gets assisted to the sidelines.
And for some depth there, the Stampeders, of course, have signed Stevie Baggs as well, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, Saskatchewan Rough Rider.
Winnipeg Blue Bomber?
Yeah.
The list goes on.
Yes.
Now the Bombers anxious to get off to a better start. It's been a familiar theme all season long. 12 games, their last 12 games, just one offensive first quarter touchdown. Last week they did get double digits in the opening quarter thanks to a touchdown return, punt return by DeMont Washington. Here's Chad Simpson. We mentioned that Tim Burke wants to give him more work in this game. And a short carry for Simpson against this Calgary defense.
Led by Charleston Hughes up front. Hughes, 5 sacks on the season. That's in a tie for second place in the CFL. Jawan Simpson's putting together a nice campaign. 9 tackles last week versus the Edmonton Eskimos. And Chris Randall starting to get around the football a little bit more as he gets more comfortable in this Calgary defense. An interception 2 games ago.
2nd and 6. Joey Elliott, short drop. Here comes the rush. Underneath it goes, and Clarence Denmark will not reach. The first down stick was meant initially by Jamar Wall and bounced out by Keon Raymond. 2 and out to start for the Bombers, who now are into 39 possessions without an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, 0 touchdowns in the first quarter in 10 games, as you mentioned. It's just been a team that has had to try and come from behind, and coming off the heartbreaking loss a week ago to Saskatchewan by just 1 point. A Labor Day rematch.
Excuse me, Glenn. No Larry Taylor for Calgary's on the 9-game disabled list. Marquay McDaniel, LaMarcus Coker are back as Renault with a line drive boot. And it is McDaniel stepping across the 20 and lunging up to the 26-yard line. Former Winnipeg Blue Bomber quarterback and a guy who went 0-4 against Winnipeg last year. Kevin Glenn leads Calgary out.
But in his 8 starts, 5-3 as a Calgary Stampeder. Remember, he's the backup. Drew Tate was hurt in Game 2 versus Toronto. There's John Cornish. What a tear he has been on over the last 5 games. 3 times over 150 yards. And we talked about Nick Lewis, who leads the league in a few categories, but is poised to get to that 10,000-yard mark if he can get 77 tonight.
Big to Cornish, Glenn on a roll, and there's Nick Lewis, and Lewis busts a tackle, and it's his biggest gain of the year. Nick Lewis all the way down to the Winnipeg 30-yard line. And Nick Lewis gets closer to 10,000 and moves ahead, and Travis Moore into 16th all-time.
Well, he takes a big chunk out of the 77 yards he needs to get to that 10,000. 52 yards on this play. And it looks like if he stays in this game, stays healthy, Nick Lewis will get to 10,000 tonight. What a way to start.
Finally, Jonathan Hepney drags him down. 52 for Lewis. His longest prior to that was 28. Now the handoff to Cornish, had a little trouble, and he'll get dropped for a loss. There's Hepney with the tackle as Cornish bobbled the handoff from Kevin Glenn.
Defensively, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming off a great game from Jason Vega in a losing effort against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 3 sacks, he got on a roll. Enoch Mwamba at middle linebacker is going to be key to trying controlling John Cornish in the Calgary running game tonight. One change in the secondary. Johnny Sears goes to corner. Damon Washington back to the special teams.
Jason Vega, the defensive player of the week. A loss of 5, 2nd and 15. The hitch to Joe West, replacing Romby Bryant. And he'll be dropped at the 25, short of the first down.
Good hustle by Jason Vega again, who's to find his confidence level again and starting to show that great redirection ability that he has. He can change directions in a heartbeat. Kenny Maynor on the run up the field, and you can see after blitzing or going after the quarterback, Vega gets back and makes a tackle short of the first down.
So that big 52-yard play by Lewis sets up Rennie Paredes, who is 18 for 20 on the year, working at 90%. As he surveys this from 33 yards out, and the fake is Rob Cote. They watched the Green Bay Packers last night, Dan. Rob Cote's got a touchdown.
He lines up as a tight end in the field goal formation, or the wingman, and he's on the right of your screen. He's going to come across. This play almost disrupted. Didn't work because of penetration from Winnipeg, but once Cote got outside there, he found his running lane, surprised the Winnipeg field goal return team, and Calgary Stampeders with the major to start this game out.
26-yard touchdown for number 26, his first rushing touchdown of the year, 2nd overall. And now Paredes will handle the extra point. And an early Calgary touchdown lead.
In the run game with John Cornish and what he's done over the last 5 weeks, often playing fullback or tight end.
Ron Washington has it bounce off his shins, and they'll just eat the football as Jason Vega grabs it and rolls out of touch.
Let's show you that fake field goal. Rob Cote is a tight end. Now this one almost disrupted by Kenny Maynor. Number 54 is Cote is going to come behind the line of scrimmage and stop it there. You see that? He almost makes the tackle in the backfield, goes low. Cote fights off that one while catching the football, and then he's got a running lane and the corner and gets to Pater.
Pretty good surge by Bryant Turner as well, but not enough to stop the 26-yard touchdown run for Cote. At the 23-yard line, Joey Elliott will swing it to Simpson out of the backfield, and he's going to get dragged down by Duron Mayo.
Talked about Chad Simpson in the opening and in the pregame show about the fact that last week just 9 carries. The week before that he had 8 carries. That's back-to-back without hitting double figures when it comes to actually running the football. Now he is seeing a little bit out of the air like we saw on that last play. When you look at his touches last few weeks, 12 against BC and Saskatchewan, and then 13 last week. They'd like to get that up around 17 to 20.
2nd and 8, the 6 receiver set for the Bombers. Elliott under duress, and he'll get dropped. And there is Charleston Hughes, who's been riding high for the Stampeders of late. Hughes with his 6th sack, which puts him to 2nd place in the CFL sack race.
2nd place all alone. He was in a tie with 5 coming in with a few guys, but just works his way on a bit of an inside move there. Had Juwan Simpson coming on contained. There's another guy who has been on a roll last 3 games, 10 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and from the defensive end position, an interception.
Hit him with the hot man choice.
Leads the league in tackles by defensive ends. Having a big year. Renault with the kick. Fielded at the 41. And McDaniel up to the 50. Calgary with the football and the lead here early at McMahon. Well, it could be a big night for a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber quarterback chasing a Blue Bomber legend in Dieter Brock. And with more, let's join Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. You know what? Kevin Glenn just 40 yards behind. When we informed him about this fact yesterday, he was genuinely surprised and a little impressed with himself. He said, this is something that I can truly be proud of. Now, being a former Bomber, Glenn knows a lot about Dieter Brock, the Hall of Famer, won 2 Most Outstanding Player Awards, 2 All-Canadian Quarterback Awards, and of course he's in the Hall of Fame with almost 35,000 yards in passing. Glenn stressed that the win is most important, but it certainly would be nice to pass Dieter Brock on the all-time list on Wall of Fame night here in Calgary.
Jeff Garcia is also in the building. He'll be honored tonight. And for Wall of Fame night, how about Jermaine Franklin looking resplendent on the sidelines?
Is that a version of the sweater vest?
Wow.
I think it is, but look good down there. Well, that's quite an accomplishment to move up the list. Dieter Brock, former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Of course, Kevin Glenn, remember back in 2007 as a Bomber. A game away from competing in the Grey Cup Championship when he hurt his wrist in the Eastern Final.
Brandon Collier shaken up on that John Cornish run for 4 yards. And he makes his way slowly to the sidelines. Jake Thomas, the youngster out of Acadia, has checked in at defensive tackle.
Bombers have really struggled since then at finding some stability at the quarterback position.
Remarkable how many different quarterbacks have been at the helm of the Bombers since Kevin Glenn. And Glenn pulls it down. He'll take off and he'll run for a 1st down. You don't see Kevin Glenn run much. 12 carries, 76 yards coming into the game, but it's a 1st down run for Kevin Glenn.
This defensive line for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are a little bit undersized in the matchup against the Calgary O-line, but they are quick. And so they should open up a few running lanes for Kevin Glenn as they try and make their moves and go around these offensive linemen playing very well in Calgary of late.
Kevin Glenn did not run once in the game against the Eskimos at Commonwealth last Friday. Direct snap, here's Cornish. And John Cornish will be tripped up at the 43-yard line. Tackle on the play by the corner, Johnny Sears.
Last 5 games, John Cornish has 643 yards rushing. You take a look at that, it's around 129-yard average, and you just think about a guy with over 150 yards in 3 of the last 5, 125.6 yards in the last 5 games on 17 carries. There has not been a better running back in the league. He leads the Canadian Football League. All backs.
Here's Glenn, takes a look, in some trouble, scrambling, and gets hit and brought down, and that's Alex Hall who drops Kevin Glenn behind the line of scrimmage. It will be 3rd down.
3-game drought for Alex Hall to get to the quarterback. But again, the quickness of this Bomber defensive line as they get up the field like Alex Hall did there and then spin back and still make the tackle from behind.
5th sack of the year for Hall. Bombers have been good in that area lately. 6 sacks last week, 16 in 5 games, and tied for the league lead coming in. Rob Maver looking to pin the Bombers, and this will bounce down to the 5-yard line. And Washington will step out at the 7. So a deep start for Joey Elliott when we come back.
Important game for Joey Elliott for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Not only to climb out of this hole and try and get a win in the win column after 3 straight losses, but also maybe his last chance at an audition here.
He better be wary of big number 39, who's made some noise already. At the 7, they're going to go for the deep ball, and Clarence Denmark can't reach it. He had a step in behind coverage. Well, we mentioned since Kevin Glenn left, and how about this? 9 games since Kevin Glenn left the Bombers against Calgary. Joey Elliott the first to get a second start against the Stampeders. 8 different quarterbacks.
By the way, the last quarterback to throw for over 300 yards against Calgary, Ryan Dinwiddie. In that game back in July 24, 2008.
2nd and 10. Here comes the rush, and Joey Elliott is buried back inside the 5. Pressure from Corey Mace. There's Brian Bulkey. And that defensive line of Calgary is in dancing form early.
And a little more playing time in this game. Brian Bulkey was on and off the roster throughout this season. Just ducks underneath him there. And it looks like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in this position are almost going to have to punt it away. Buck Pierce right here is going to get the start next week, according to head coach Tim Burke. So last chance maybe for Joey Elliott to maybe plant a seed in his head coach's head, just to say, don't think about me, and it will be giving up the safety. Yeah.
3 2-and-outs, and Mike Renaud puts down a knee in the end zone, and Calgary leads by 9. While the capacity crowd in the Banjo Bowl in Winnipeg left stunned disbelief after the last-minute strategy by Tim Burke for the punt, and that set up Sandro DeAngelis with a walk-off field goal for a Rough Rider win, and a lot of heat on the head coach.
Yeah, had he gone
There's Robbie Bryant, who not in the lineup.
During the return, illegal block, Calgary, number 42. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Duron Mayo. We talked to Tim Burke about that controversial decision last Sunday.
The number one thing is I made the wrong decision. The correct decision in that situation is to kick the field goal. That gives yourself a chance to win the game just by kicking the field goal, and then they have 30 seconds to get down the field and score a touchdown, which is virtually impossible.
You know, and I'll give him this. I mean, he's first of all thrust into this position. He obviously would love to take over, be a head coach. He's been working towards that over the last few years, but didn't want to do it under these circumstances with the firing of Paul LaPolice a couple of weeks ago. But I will give him credit for this. I mean, he owned the mistake, and right after the game, it was hours after the game, as a matter of fact, said, yeah, I made the wrong mistake. It was a bad call. Cost us the game. Said that to his teammates as well, and you can respect that.
Joe West to catch, and now to the far side. Johnny Forzani has the grab, brought down quickly by Alex Suber.
You know,
And
so
a short gain.
he talks Chris to his team and stands up in front of him and says, look, I cost us that close game by a point. And, you know, everyone makes mistakes, whether it's players, management, and sometimes head coaches, and he's got to try and catch up in a hurry mid-season. Last time that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers changed a coach in mid-season was back in 2004 when Jim Daly took over for Dave Ritchie.
4 minutes left, first quarter. 2nd and 5. And that pass is caught. Nice grab there by the newcomer Maurice Price, who draws into the lineup. Broke a foot in the preseason. He's waited a long time to make his Stampeder debut.
Yeah, and he's been working his way back into the lineup, trying to come back from that injury. That's a nice catch over the middle and got his arms underneath it. No need for Tim Burke to challenge that one.
So a 2nd down conversion catch for Price. And a first down at the 38. And the sweep to Price. And he's cut down across the 45. Suber with the tackle. Dave Dickinson's got a deep playbook, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, and it's been, the play calling has been outstanding with the balance that he's shown, whether it be running the football to John Cornish, and we showed you how productive he's been over the last 5 games. This kind of play changes things up, so if the defense starts keying on John Cornish and you give it to a receiver coming wide like that, he can catch the corner and turn a 10-yard play into a big play.
Stampeders are 2nd in the CFL in first down production. Only the BC Lions have generated more first downs this season. Here's Cornish, and he should have the first down. And Cornish gets up a little agitated.
This is another example just of what Dave Dickinson is doing to mix things up with tight end formation like this. Bring in some extra blocking, short yardage for John Cornish, but he'll do that whether it's 2nd down or first down on a run down. Change up formations, different looks, different play calls as this offense continues to evolve.
Cornish does get the first down. Glenn checks back in. There's Nick Lewis. And Lewis, a tough guy to bring down. Stretching out near the 45-yard line. Catch number 699 for Lewis, who is approaching a couple of milestones. 700 catches and 10,000 yards. 18 on that grab from Kevin Glenn.
Took all of Johnny Sears and Ian Logan to get him down. That slant over the middle, and he loves that area of the field. No problem for Nick Lewis going into the middle.
So 7 from 10K for Lewis. Next catch will be number 700. Back in the hands of Cornish, and nothing there as they shut the door inside on Cornish.
With that throw to Nick Lewis, Kevin Glenn passes Dieter Brock, 12th all time.
And for us old-timers, Dieter Brock was a quarterback. He could throw the football.
Was there a stronger arm at throwing the wide side out than Dieter Brock's? Could be facing the opposite direction, and just strong arm it with a flick of the wrist. 45, 50 yards.
Second and long, Glenn to throw, looking over the middle, and that's broken up. Johnny Sears, a nice play as they tried the connection to Joe West, and Sears helps cause the first incompletion by Kevin Glenn on the day.
Kevin Glenn's had time to throw, lots of time to throw, and he will here again. John Cornish comes in, picks up a nice block in the middle, giving Glenn a chance to get it over the middle, but Johnny Sears in perfect position. Gets a knockdown, his 5th.
So Maver looking for the pin once again. Washington lets this one bounce, and he'll give up the single point. The no yards flag comes out. 3 seconds remaining here in the opening quarter, and likely a 10-0 Calgary lead on the 56-yard single by Maver.
Well, as Tim Burke found out last week, it's not as easy as it looks sometimes to angle that football for a punter out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. It's a more difficult kick than people think, and Rob Maver wanted it and missed it on that last one.
So the options given to Joey Elliott, in most cases, you give the single and take better field position. See if that's what the Bombers are going to do.
But these first quarters.
No yards. Calgary, number 24. That penalty will be declined. 1 point is scored.
So it is a 10-0 lead. It means the Bombers have been outscored now 77-18 in the first quarter. And barring a one-play touchdown here to wrap up the quarter, it'll be the 6th time in 11 games that the Bombers have been held without a point in the first quarter this year.
0 touchdowns in 10 games in the first quarter, make it 11. Unless, as you mentioned, this is a one-play throw for a touchdown from Elliott.
Offensive touchdowns, of course, the Devon Washington punt return last week here as the sweep to Denmark runs out of room. And that is the opening 15 minutes here at McMahon. Well, it started with a big play to Nick Lewis. Charleston Hughes has been tough defensively. And a gadget play field goal for Rob Cote. Stamps with the lead. Brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the CFL. It's 8 teams and a big supporter of the CFL Grey Cup trade that's in Edmonton right now.
When you look at the Winnipeg Blue Bomber column, not only did they not score a touchdown in that first quarter, for the 11th straight game, they didn't get a first down in the first quarter. If there was any good news for the Bombers in that quarter, is that they did contain John Cornish in the run game. He had 5 carries for 6 yards. Other than that, not a very good quarter for the Bombers.
No, that's the positive, but that in a string of bad first quarters, that right up there without a first down for Winnipeg. Looking at 2nd and 7 as we start the second quarter. Here comes the heat. Elliott steps up, and a flag should fly. Terrence Edwards, the intended target, was upended, and that will provide the initial first down for the Bombers. Chris Randall, the Sam linebacker for Calgary, will draw the penalty.
Well, first of all, Joey Elliott does a nice job of stepping up in the pocket just to get the ball out of there, and gives his receiver a chance down the field.
Accidental pass interference. Calgary, number 33. That is a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Chris Randall didn't grab him or twist him or turn him. He just kind of ran up the back, as this is a scramble play. Everything's clean there. And then as he scrambles for the football, it's kind of a general push into the back. That was a close call.
At the 48, a first down, and a handoff to Simpson. Trying to get outside, slowed up by Jamar Wall, and taken out. Brian Bulkey on the scene once again as he gets extra work at defensive tackle.
Buck Pierce was ready to go and was actually very disappointed He didn't get a chance to start in this football game. Tim Burke was a little concerned in his lack of reps with the first team because of his injury, and wanted to go one more week with Joey Elliott. No first downs in the first quarter. I wonder if he's regretting that decision now.
2nd and 7. Elliott has an open man and a completion. There's the newcomer, Isaac Anderson, in his first game of the year off the practice roster, and he comes up with the biggest offensive play so far for the Blue Bombers.
Just kind of crisscrossing patterns here. Anderson's going to come in this direction. He's going to get one coming across the other side and just gets man-to-man. So when you go on a crossing route like that, your defender gets in the chase position in a hurry, and a nice throw by Elliott.
Darius Brooks, the tackle out of Wisconsin, a rookie with blazing speed. Wow. And there is Corey Watson way ahead of the snap of the football. And an offside against Winnipeg. It's one area that the Bombers have been better under Tim Burke. Just the 4th offside procedure in 3 games since Burke took over. It's an area
Offside. Winnipeg, number 81. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
The Bombers were taking penalties with regularity.
They're trying to shore that up, but with just a little bit of momentum after a real tough first quarter, the Bombers get a first down by penalty. They get a nice throw down the field, and now have to try and continue this drive in a bit of a hole in 1st and 15.
Matthews to the short side. Isaac Anderson wide to the near side. 1st and 15, the hitch to Matthews. Here's Chris Matthews, and Eric Fraser met up with him. Matthews pushing forward for about 3 extra yards. Well, Tim Burke gave us his reasons for keeping Buck Pierce in the press box and Joey Elliott in the starters role.
It's just so tough for a quarterback to get ready that fast. And I know he's experienced, but the thing is, he's played training camp and a week and a half in Gary's offense. And so to try to get ready that fast would be extremely difficult.
So Elliott with one last start here, 2nd and 13. He'll look deep, and that ball is intercepted. Keon Raymond back in the end zone has the interception for Calgary. Keon Raymond flags it down. It's the first turnover of the night. Raymond?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because I end up with the ball. It's just what it is. Friday night football, baby.
Yes, it is. And the defensive backs had to be irritated that Charleston Hughes has as many interceptions as any one of they did until that one from Keon Raymond.
Here's Cornish, and he hasn't been able to get rolling yet. Ryan Turner, the tackle. Let's take another look at Keon Raymond's handiwork.
Well, he plays his own defense really nice. Keon Raymond has the deep outside third in this zone. He's going to get 2 receivers, but he doesn't have to jump the inside one because he's got help in there. If you guys stop it right there, he's got this inside one, but he doesn't have to worry about that one and let that one go down the rail. He can just stay on the outside, the deep receiver on the wide side, because he's got Eric Fraser in the middle. In basically what turned into a 4-deep zone, he had the quarter.
2nd down, and Kevin Glenn's going to take a shot from Marquay McDaniel and overthrows the intended target. So a 2 and out after the interception by Raymond.
I was going to say it was also a bad throw by Joey Elliott to overthrow his target by 4 or 5 yards into the hands of Keon Raymond, but they'll get another shot here with the 2 and out.
A little surprising, Calgary, 2 games over 500. With that interception, they're still -8 on the year in the giveaway takeaway. They have been the one team that has had success even when losing that battle this year. 3 wins when losing the giveaway takeaway battle for Calgary. Lamont Washington got through the first surge and now will get stopped as Rob Cote will finish him off as we approach the 5-minute mark. 2nd quarter in Calgary. Well, we mentioned they have not won here since 2002. Seems like every team has one place they just can't win a game, The Alouettes will tell you it's BC Place Stadium, and Winnipeg will certainly tell you here, and Jermaine Franklin has more.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. You know, it's tough for the Bombers. It hasn't even been very close here at McMahon Stadium in those 9 games, except for a 3-point loss just a couple of years ago. I asked several Bombers about their futility here in this stadium, and they said to a man they didn't know, which might be part of the problem. So I went to Obi Khan, a former Bomber and current Stampeder, and he said it's tough coming in here because they know they haven't won, and it's in the back of their minds, and it definitely plays a role when they come out on the field.
There's the former Bomber, backup role right now with Calgary.
I think back to 2008 when John Hufnagel took over in Calgary and the Stamps went to the Grey Cup and won it, that he had those goals at the beginning of the year and told his team, you know, we can't win in this city. We can't win back-to-back on the road. We can't beat Hamilton when we have to. Whatever it was, to set up those challenges, to knock them off as the season progressed.
Flag down, Elliott over the middle. It's complete, close to a first down. Terrence Edwards, the catch, will monitor the flag. But based on Winnipeg's futility here, you wonder if John Hufnagel reprised his Grey Cup speech from 08 and told his guys, we got them right where we want them.
Yeah, you're right.
Offside. Winnipeg, number 81. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Now that's 2 for Corey Watson in the game, and that will negate first down grab by the veteran Edwards.
Corey Watson with shy of 250 yards receiving so far this season. You almost think they need some more production out of their 2 Canadian receivers, Corey Watson and Kito Poblo, which came in with such high expectation. I certainly think Corey Watson's poised to take a step, but hasn't yet.
In a 10-catch game against Hamilton, he's only had 8 grabs since. Over the middle, and that's through the hands of Simpson. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 15.
A little bit of a fastball there for Chad Simpson to handle on that dump pass. Just 4 catches for Corey Watson, by the way, in the last couple of games. And Kito Pobla just coming off a 3-catch, 29-yard game against Saskatchewan.
Just once, Pobla's had over 50 yards receiving in a game this year. 2nd and 15. And Elliott's going to step up, take off, and get brought down just beyond the line of scrimmage. Short gain for Joey Elliott, and it will be 3rd down.
You know, when you talk to these Bomber players, they will tell you they feel like they have the talent. You look at Corey Watson, I think everyone's waiting to step his game up a little bit more, take the next step, and become one of those reliable go-to receivers. He's got just a couple of penalties for being offside. This team's so close. I mean, look at Chris Matthews standing beside him, one of the top rookies in the Canadian Football League this year. But it starts and sometimes ends at quarterback.
Does it ever? And in the graphic we showed you earlier, 8 different quarterbacks in the previous 8 meetings against this team tells the story. Parkway McDaniel just knocked off balance on the return. 40-yard kick, 12 on the bring back.
And on the board.
Make the sweep to Coker, and on a roll, it's gunned to midfield, and that is Nick Lewis, and that should be 10,000 yards. Had the 52-yarder to start the night, and Nick's going to pick up the football and keep it. What an accomplishment. He's now 16th all-time in his 9th year in the Canadian Football League, and on his way to his 9th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Nick Lewis Nation celebrates.
And they will put a piece of tape around that football with the number 10,000 on it. Nick Lewis Nation, pretty pumped up. Congratulations.
And a lot of bumps and bruises on the way to 10,000 for him and the guys that have tried to stop him. Playing under pressure, that ball up for grabs. It's intercepted. There is a flag down on the play, but that ball popped up in the air. Kevin Glenn slow to get up.
Thought that Jake Thomas.
Major foul. roughing the passer. Winnipeg, number 95. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that'll take the interception away from Enoch Mwamba as the youngster Jake Thomas gets flagged.
Jake Thomas, inside move, takes an extra step, ball gone, and gives Kevin Glenn a shove. Flag comes out, and that takes an interception off the board for Enoch Mwamba. Of course, Jake Thomas had the cause fumble in the win against Edmonton.
Gives Calgary first down at the 40. Cornish, a little shift of the gears and has a pickup of over 10 yards. First down inside the 30-yard line, but let's take another look at Nick Lewis hitting a major Canadian Football League milestone.
He got off to such a great start, and this is the catch that will put him over the top. Over 10,000 yards receiving. When he was asked about it this week, he said, I'm not stopping at 10,000. So I'm not thinking all that much about it, but obviously a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations to Nick Lewis.
Well, he's passed Travis Moore tonight into 16th spot. Next catch might get him by Jermaine Copeland. Here's a pass intended for West that sails high and incomplete. Nick Lewis is 8 away from tying former teammate Jermaine Copeland.
Jermaine Copeland. And
I'd like to wish all the best to Chris Jurwitz, the Stampeders outgoing director of communications. Signed on with the city of Calgary.
We're doing Friday Night Football.
Well, I can't tell you how important the PR guys are for professional sports teams, whether it be football, hockey, doesn't matter. They're the bridge between the team and the media. And then, of course, the media, the bridge between the fans and the team.
2nd and 10, and in traffic. Is that not vintage Nick Lewis? And that should put him past Cope. He might want another football souvenir.
And he loves this type of football. I mean, this is what he looked for. Nick Lewis, throughout his career, is not looking to beat anyone unless he jumps over them because they go low on him. He's searching out contact. Takes a hit by 2 Bombers there and a Lewis sandwich, and they just bounce off the big man.
Yardsticks come out. Needed 9 to pass Copeland. All he cares about is whether or not he got 10 on a first down, and he leads in second down conversion catches with 20 on the year. That one just short of being number 21.
Leads the league in receptions coming in. He mentioned those first down clutch catches.
Well, and over 700 catches now, so he's taking care of a lot of business here in this first half.
Just signed a contract extension recently. The Calgary Stampeders. He wants to finish his career here, and why not? Nick Lewis Nation absolutely loves him. One of the top tailgate areas before games out here by McMahon Stadium.
Apparently I got the tweet late. We missed out on some ribs tonight.
I heard.
There's the crew. Part of Nick Lewis Nation. 3rd and about a yard for Levi Mitchell, the surge. And gets pushed back, but forward progress should be the first down. And right now, the momentum would be behind Lewis. You could get into a decent debate about Nick Lewis or John Cornish for MOP and Calgary, and a couple of big steps up the ladder tonight past Travis Moore and Jermaine Copeland, both former Calgary Stampeder weapons, and now Lewis 15th all time.
Well, on his current pace, if he stays healthy and stays in the rest of the season, should move up to around 12 or 13th on the all-time list and pass Tom Scott.
He's passed a lot of people this year. Here's Cornish with a seam to the end zone. Touchdown. Well, there's the other guy hitting pay dirt once again.
2 guys in that conversation, Chris, at this point of the season. I know it's still early, but 2 guys that you've got to believe will be in the conversation out of the West for MOP candidates. Nick Lewis, who we've talked about, is 10,000 yards plus, and this guy, John Cornish, who just keeps getting it done. What tremendous acceleration as he turned the corner and just sprinted.
18-yard touchdown run for Cornish. His 6th rushing touchdown of the year, 7th overall. Paredes the extra point as the Stampeders up the lead. 7 plays, 72 yards. The Calgary drive aided by that penalty, and with 38 yards in this first half, John Cornish has a new career high in rushing. He's up to 875 yards.
Well, his ability to read the blocking schemes in front of him, to go with the flow, has been outstanding, especially in the last 5 games. But there he shows you a little bit of that great acceleration, because as he comes around and finds the hole he wants through here, watch how he just hits the hole and turns it into another gear. Takes it here, a couple of read steps, and this is where the acceleration begins. And we see the speed of John Cornish as he outruns the angle of Enoch Muamba, the middle linebacker. He can't get there because of that speed.
First carry of the night was for a loss of 5, but Cornish has got that turned around, and Bombers are in a deep hole here in the opening half. Come on, Washington. A little extra effort to get across the 30.
Well, that was really the only positive for the Bombers in the first quarter, that they had held Cornish to under 10 yards rushing in the quarter and 5 carries, and now he's starting to get his legs underneath him, coming off a game where he had 185 a week ago.
Funny thing was, he was trailing.
Almost 200-yard lead now, and Corey Sheets, of course, plays in Montreal on Sunday.
Here's Chad Simpson, and the hole doesn't open up for him. Charleston Hughes at the bottom of the pile. Corey Mace is there. And check that was Carl Volney with his first carry. Volney back in the lineup, first time in a year since suffering an ACL injury last season. So the comeback trail for the Canadian running back sees him getting back in the lineup here at McMahon. No gain for Volney, 2nd and 10. And they'll screen it to Volney. And he'll get upended. It's busted up by Malik Jackson. Good play by the Wilt linebacker to make sure Volney couldn't head upfield.
Starting to make a few more plays of late, last couple of games. Has an interception, has a sack to his tally. I like the way he steps up in here into the line to look at run first, and then can react and get to Volney. Hold him well short.
So it results in the 4th 2 and out of the opening half for the Bombers. Mike Renault with McDaniel deep, and they don't get the play off, and Renault shows his frustration.
Time count violation. Winnipeg, number 9. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Boy, the tires on this team continue to spin, and, you know, it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, every phase of the game. Little penalties like that cost you 5 yards here, 5 yards there. And all that up.
Tough couple of weeks for Renault. The block kick at Mosaic, and last week missing the corner on the late punt. Here's Coker, and he just got tripped up. Not sure if it was over his own man, but otherwise Coker might still be running to the Bomber end zone. So the 3-minute warning being given to the benches here. Calgary, on the strength of that last touchdown by John Cornish, has opened up a 17-0 lead. It's been a big night for Nick Lewis, over 10,000 yards receiving in his CFL career. Stampeders start at the Winnipeg 51-yard line, trying to enhance this lead. Kevin Glenn on the roll, back into the hands of Lewis. It's another first down as he is sent sprawling by Brandon Stewart, but over 100 for Nick Lewis.
He's on pace for 110 catches on the season, over 1,200 yards. Just keeps racking it up, but actually his progress was slowed a little bit over the last 3 of the last 5 games, but he's over 100 again tonight already, and we haven't hit halftime yet.
Was not a 100-yard receiver in the CFL last week. Doesn't happen very much, but Nick Lewis gets the receivers back over 100 again. John Cornish short gain.
He's held to 40 yards or less in 3 of the last 5. And teams game plan against Nick Lewis. They know how productive he's been, especially on second down to move the chains, and yet you can game plan all you want. The great ones find a way. Nick Lewis continues to find ways to beat double teams or whatever defense is thrown at him.
Third 100-yard game of the year. He opened with 105 against Montreal, 101 against Edmonton. Wobble ball, but Maurice Price found the handle and then pays the price as Alex Zuber got a shot in on him.
Could be well short. The Calgary Stampeders are going to have to go for a field goal here, and in the meantime, look over on that Bomber bench, and I noticed that Alex Briggs got his helmet on and the clipboard out of his hand.
Elliott with a tap on the helmet says he will pass on the responsibilities, and Brink gets set to come in. We'll get one series to get established before the second half. Well, they faked out of this formation, and from 33, but Paredes will kick from 35 and up the lead. It's a 20-0 Calgary lead here in the opening half. He'll remain on the sidelines, and Alex Brink will try and get this offense moving.
Joey Elliott had the big game against Hamilton in one of the 2 wins for the Bombers this year, where he threw for over 400. It's been basically straight downhill since then as teams been able to game plan against him. We'll see what Alex Brink can do.
Almost 10 full quarters without an offensive touchdown with Tim Burkett at the controls, and that's a tough way to start. Volney on the scene to bail out his quarterback, who drops the shotgun snap.
Alex Brink just took his eyes off this shotgun snap for a second, bounces right off both his hands. Running back bails him out, or Calgary Stampeders get the ball in Winnipeg territory one more time.
Brink did get a little work at Mosaic in the 52-0 game, but a couple of misplayed kickoffs kept him on the sidelines when he could have had a few more reps. Sideline pass, and that's not going anywhere. Jamar Wall on the scene. Corey Watson taken down, and so it's 5 2-and-outs. So the clock ticking on this offense and its lack of production.
And that's why Tim Burke has made the decision to throw Alex Brink in there. Of course, Buck Pierce not available. Gary Croton, the new offensive coordinator, beside Buck Pierce, and sooner or later some of the responsibility has to go on his shoulders as well to try and find ways to find the end zone.
Buck Pierce will be the starter next Friday night at home against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
But it's Gary Croton's show now. I mean, with Paul LaPolice, worked with him when he was the head coach, of course, offensive background for Paul LaPolice, and worked with Gary Croton early on in the season, try and help him understand the Canadian Football League and the differences. He's got a great resume, but this is a different game.
There was Boot, be a no yards penalty, and Markway McDaniel skips out of bounds just beyond the 35-yard line. And Kevin Glenn has just over a minute to add to the Stampeder lead here in this first half. Boy, he has been everything John Hufnagel wanted
exactly
in an insurance policy, just in case something happened.
Number 15, 15-yard penalty, first down.
In the newspaper today, the Calgary Stampeders and Dave Dickinson talked about how they looked at some other players at quarterback that were possibly available in the offseason to do a deal with. Stephen Giles was one of them. The entire organization and coaching staff felt that Kevin Glenn was the right fit for a lot of reasons.
Devon Washington, no yards penalty, and here's a wide open receiver. And it's Markway McDaniel down to the 15-yard line. Well, the old Hamilton Tiger Cat battery mates, Glenn to McDaniel. And it's a 50-yard gain. Kevin Glenn over 200 now in this opening half.
Dave Dickinson talked about his accuracy and how he feels like Kevin Glenn has tremendous accuracy throwing the football when you give him time. Glenn loving the experience of working with a guy like Dave Dickinson, who's been out there playing the game. The highest of levels. Javon Johnson gets caught in the chase position, very frustrated after that one.
McDaniel over 500 yards receiving on the year. He's 4th in the league in second down conversion catches. Glenn takes a shot for Lewis, and he was in a battle, and flags do fly. He was tied up with Alex Super and couldn't reach the football. This will be the first pass interference penalty against the Bombers in 5 games.
Pass interference, Winnipeg, number 21. Ball will be spotted at the 3-yard line, first down.
No secret where Nick Lewis is going to line up. Let's see what Alex Suber does to him. A little inside move, then he has to grab and hold on. I mean, that's about as obvious of pass interference as you can get.
Kenny Maynard checks in on that defensive line for the Bombers. First and goal from the 3. Cote leads the blocking. Cornish to the outside. Touchdown. Second touchdown of this first half for John Cornish. He puts it in from 3 yards out.
Well, he had to do it all on his own. The timing on this play was off a little bit because Bo Levi Mitchell had trouble getting him the football deep. Came in for this short yardage down the goal line. See how he had to stretch to get him the ball. That gave the Bombers a chance to get some angles on Cornish, and he outran them. A couple of nice moves to get into the end zone.
8 touchdowns on the year for Cornish.
John Cornish is so deceptive with his change of direction, change of speed. Looks like he's in glide, and then he has a little burst. We've shown you the great top end speed. He also shows you some quickness on that last play. Marcellus Bowman had a chance at him. I mean, Bowman's going to play this very well here, shoot it, but watch how he loses the angle because of the acceleration. Okay, stop it there, guys. Now Bowman has the cutoff angle, but watch how Cornish, with a little step, right there, bounces it, then cuts back on the contained man, Jonathan Hefney. That's just great skills in the open field.
That's an impressive 3-yard touchdown run.
After the play, offsetting unnecessary roughness penalties. Calgary and Winnipeg. Calgary 96, Winnipeg 47.
No, I
So
was like,
Devontae
where
Bolden
you at? Because the 37, I thought. And I was like, okay, come on.
was involved. And Pierre-Luc Labbé, 47 for the Bombers.
Okay, so that's what it was. Okay.
Bombers had some issues with some bad penalties last week in the 1-yard loss. And you know, the Calgary Stampeders early on in the season for the first 5-7 games had some issues of some discipline problems as well, but they seem to have left those behind.
Swift kick from Paredes, and it will bound down to Washington. And Devon Washington will be met just past the 25, and Malik Jackson and Keenan McDougal will toss him down. So a half-minute left for Alex Brink. And then the Bombers will have to regroup, and Winnipeg looking at their
tonight. He's a big part of the story. Needed 77 yards to get over 10,000, and with that catch, he hits that mark. You know, on a night when the Stampeders are honoring all-time greats, putting their names up on the wall, it's only a matter of time before number 82 is up there as well. But
headed to the second half, but first to the sideline, Jermaine Franklin with Tim Burke.
Coach Burke, offensively, what does this team need to do in order to get more production in the second half?
Well, I think number one thing is we've had some receivers open and we just haven't thrown the ball to them. I think we've got to do a better job of helping our receivers out with different route releases and things like that. And I mean, we just have to play with more poise and confidence in what we've been playing with, and just got to come out this half and take it to them like they took it to us.
In that sense, on the defensive side of the ball, what needs to occur in order to slow the Stampeders down?
Hey, we've got to do a much better job in man coverage than we're doing, and we got to stay away from stupid penalties. I mean, we can't have we had them off the field and then with an interception, and then we have a roughing the passer, and that just killed us. So we can't do those kind of things.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
So we start the second half, and LaMarcus Coker on the kick return for Calgary. And Coker across the 30-yard line, and Let's check the Calgary leaders on offense as they put up some pretty good first half numbers.
Well, we talked a lot about Nick Lewis going over 10,000 yards in the first half. He had 111 yards on 5 catches. John Cornish got off to a slow start in the first quarter, got a lot of those 43 rushing yards in the second. And look at Kevin Glenn's completion percentage, just touching 80, getting up there.
Yeah, and number 2 in the league in that department on the season, Kevin Glenn, behind only Ricky Ray. And off to Cornish, and he's wrapped and tossed back on the opening play. Enoch Mwamba was there at the middle linebacker with the quick stop.
You heard the panel at halftime, and I'm watching the same things that Milt Stiegel and Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz are looking for too, and that's who's going to step up and play football in the second half with a little professional pride. I think Enoch Mwamba started out that way on first down with a nice fill of the hole there and stop on John Cornish.
No gain for Cornish, 2nd and 10. Here comes the rush, and Kevin Glenn goes down. So a good start for the Bombers on defense as Alex Hall gets to the quarterback, his 2nd sack of the game and 6 on the year. So he has just tied Charleston Hughes for 2nd.
Well, he saw his teammate Jason Vega get 3 a week ago. He wants to try and catch up with him. As I mentioned, the drought that he's gone through, but there's a couple of plays defensively. The message given by Tim Berg at halftime looked like it may have paid off a little bit. Played with a little more enthusiasm to start this second half.
26 sacks on the year for the Bombers. Rob Baber. End over end will bounce just inside the 45. Washington will get a no yards call, but gets up to the 50. And that's where Alex Brick and the Bombers will go to work on offense. Revved up a little bit more. And Alex Brink and the Bombers get set to go on offense for the first time in the second half. Good start for the defense. After the regroup at halftime, we'll see if the offense comes out with a little snarl. Chris Matthews has the catch, tossed down by Malik Jackson into Calgary territory.
Well, a good way to start for this Bomber offense if they want to try and get something going is go to one of 2 receivers who have been productive this year, even though it's been a tough year for them. One being Chris Matthews, who they throw the ball to on first down there. 729 yards in his rookie season in the CFL.
Second and a couple. Chad Simpson has the first down with a burst down to the 46-yard line. DeMonte Bolden on the tackle.
It's one play at a time, and that's how you start to climb back in games like this. You can't, there is no 27-yard play or 27-point play. Just crawl back into it one step at a time. They got the 2 and out, a little bit of momentum there. Build on it with a first down. Baby steps when you're struggling like the Bombers are struggling.
Again, the handoff. Simpson, big hole, little daylight for Chad Simpson. And he rips it down inside the 20-yard line. The safety, Eric Fraser, has to drag him down, but that's a 28-yard run for Chad Simpson. 4th time he's had a run of 20 yards or more this season.
You got to believe that veterans up front are getting a little frustrated with this as well. And Glenn January right here is going to get a nice down block to open up things for Chad Simpson here as he just collapses that left side of the D-line for the Calgary Stampeders. Opens up a nice hole for number 5.
And suddenly up to 58 yards on the evening. Back in his hands again. And little second effort to get down to the 13-yard line for Simpson. 4th in the league with 66 yards per game rushing coming into this night. 6 yards on that carry, so he's about his average right now at 64 yards. 65 yards here early in the third quarter, and an injured Calgary Stampeder.
Chris Randall.
So the Sam linebacker has been shaken up and will step out while he gets attention from Pat Clayton. For Pacific on TSN and TSN Radio. So Chris Randall to the sidelines. Darius Brooks moves to the corner.
Tad Cornigain at linebacker.
As the defense shuffles, and the Bombers are threatening here. Deepest penetration. Second down play. Simpson off the right side is not going to get there. Short of the first down. Ball popped loose. They're ruling he was down. And it will bring up a third down play for Tim Burke. Likely to leave the offense out.
Yeah, I think you get this close and see how close where they spot that football. I believe that Tim Burke will go ahead and try and go on third down and finish this drive.
Well, that's how far away they are. And pretty automatic when you're down by 27.
I don't think there's any question, but it's long enough to cause some concern for the head coach. It's not a gimme, let's put it that way. It's a full, it looks like a good yard. How this season has gone in Winnipeg.
Yeah, 3 points here doesn't help the psyche of the team, or the scoreboard doesn't.
No, you certainly got to go ahead and try it.
Donovan Robinson. Brian Bolke have beefed up the defensive line for Calgary. Here we go. Rick Hughes, the short yardage quarterback, stays out, plunging in behind big Justin Sorensen. And there is a flag down. That usually means the defensive team didn't give a full yard.
Alex Brink went on first down, just came right up and allowed his offensive line to roll into that one. Get down in their three-point stance and just take the snap on first down, and away you go.
Calgary's defensive line. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Whole line lined up offside in the neutral zone. But you're right, no question, Tim Burke had to go there.
Trying to break through, looking for a touchdown to end a long drought for the Bombers. First and goal. Alex Brooks to the end zone, incomplete. Isaac Anderson passed behind him, but off his hands, incomplete.
You know, Isaac Anderson's had limited playing time and gets into the game for the first time and is a little quick coming out of this break. Alex Brink wasn't quite ready to throw when he was too far inside and then threw it to the back shoulder. Isaac Anderson couldn't come up with the catch.
Missed opportunity. So second and goal. Brink deep in the end zone for Corey Watson. Can't make the catch. And it'll be third down, and do they leave the offense out? It looks like the field goal unit will come on.
Well, let's take a look at Corey Watson. He did get a little separation at the top of this route, right through the breadbasket for Corey Watson. Perfect throw by Alex Brink.
And so 174 minutes, 47 seconds, and counting without an offensive touchdown.
Can't put that one on the quarterback, though.
Justin Pilardi gets the Bombers on the board. Jeff Garcia when we come back to McMahon. Well, tremendous dinner last night and a great halftime ceremony here honoring the new inductees on the Wall of Fame. Kelvin Anderson, Normie Kwong, there's Jeff Garcia. Jerry Shaw also honored here tonight, and Sig Gooch, the former owner of the Calgary Stampeders. And it's great to have the Grey Cup MVP from 1998, Jeff Garcia, with us. I know it's great to be back in Calgary.
Always great to come back. Great fans, great friends. I mean, the chemistry, the teammates that I had here, the experience that I had here was a phenomenal one. And
the boys are putting on a show for you.
Well, they're putting it together, man. There's a pounding taking place out on the field. I feel bad for the other team.
And Nick Lewis has been at it all night long. You would have had fun throwing Big 82.
He's a beast. He's a specimen out there. I watched him last week against Edmonton, and hey, the guy does a great job of getting open, and then he just bounces people off of him.
Take another look at this as Nick Lewis is already over 100 on the night for the third time on the season. 121 with this catch.
Look at those moves for the big man.
And 10,000 in his career, Jeff. And I know you played with some great receivers as well. Guys like Alan Pitts, the Calgary Stampeders.
I had a great group around me. Pitts, Sapunjas, Moore, gosh, Danielson.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of guys that could play.
Hey, I was amazed today reading about the story that you thought you might have been cut here before you ever got established. It was down to one preseason game against Sacramento?
It really was. From what I understand, the writing might have been on the wall already going into that preseason game, and I had one quarter to really show what I was capable of. Fortunately, that quarter I played well, and we won that game. And more so than that, I think Huffnagel, it just verified to him that, hey, this kid's a gamer. We need to keep him here. And they picked me over the other guy. I became the third string quarterback that year, and off we rode.
Off you went, and it started in that Labor Day game when you took the reins. But I guess one of the great memories you have is when it culminated in the Grey Cup championship. And let's take another look back at that in 1998.
Absolutely, just a great experience for us as a team and for me as a player. And really at that point in my career, that fifth year, that fifth season, I'm thinking, hey, if Calgary's where I spend my entire career, I'm great with that. I'm loving Calgary. I love the organization. We just had a great locker room atmosphere. I mean, that more so than anything is something that was never matched anywhere else.
Jeff, I want to ask you about one of the other guys, one of the other inductees tonight, and that's Kelvin Anderson, and just how great of a football player and consistent of a football player he was.
Oh, absolutely. Kelvin was always going to get you something positive. It was very rare that Kelvin got stopped behind the line of scrimmage. That gold tooth was showing, that smile, man. You know, but he was just a tough player. I mean, he would step in front of guys and light people up when it came to protection, and a great runner.
Suits mentioned Labor Day. That's one of my great memories. I'm sure anybody from Edmonton doesn't want to hear about it, but it was 6 touchdown passes, 546 yards on Labor Day, and that was really your breakout game in the CFL, wasn't it?
It was. It was my second start. We had gone down to Birmingham the week before. We had beat Birmingham, and then came back. My first start at home, and what a way to start. Labor Day Classic, and we just, hey, it was a light up. There were fireworks in the air. But the great thing about it, we went down up to Edmonton on Friday, and we took it to them there too. So it wasn't just a one-game show.
It was interesting because Jeff and I were in Saskatoon recently doing a speaking engagement there, and Jeff was, of course, our guest speaker at the Dogs Breakfast for the U of S, and I mentioned in the introduction that you had 5 touchdowns on Labor Day, and you, as I was coming up, you said, that was 6. Some kind of game, some kind of game. But this opportunity in Calgary really springboarded you to a pretty nice career down the south as well, didn't it?
It really did. Again, I mean, it was all about taking advantage of the day, you know, and I'm a guy, like Marshall Toner said, I'm an opportunistic person, and you know, I don't look too far ahead. I want to take advantage of what is in front of me, what I can see, and just playing here and being the best that I could be for this team, and having great teammates around me to help me do that. Obviously, great coaches, great teammates, but we had a lot of success during that time, and it opened up a door to go down south and hey, that was my next opportunity to show what I was made of, and hey, I think I made the most of it.
And did you ever? I know your dad, who used to pace the sidelines here, awfully proud of what you've accomplished, not just here, but in the National Football League. He must be beaming.
Oh, they're beaming. They're in the crowd tonight. They're here with me, and they're so proud, and just they loved Calgary, man. They are so happy to be back and see friends that they haven't seen in a while, and just the experience, just the atmosphere here in this city. It was a great experience, and I really I love coming back.
Now, Jeff, you continue to grow these relationships that you've made here in Canada, I know, because give us a little about what you're doing now and promoting some other players.
Absolutely. I'm very in tune with the CFL these days. I'm representing players. I'm really a mentor. I'm a life manager. I'm a guy who's walked the walk. Now let me help direct you to do the right things while you're going through it. Also, let me help you prepare for transition, that second career. I mean, too many bad stories of guys coming out, and before you know it, they're down and out. And I don't want my guys to experience that. I want to utilize the relationships that I built up in the NFL, the CFL over all these years, and hopefully the integrity that I have to represent them and do the right thing. Beyond Wealth Sports is the name of my company. I'm excited about it, and I really believe that if people start to reach out to me, I'm going to do the right thing for them.
You know, we were hoping there was a chance you might come back for one kind of victory tour. Was it ever close?
Now, come on. Maybe, you know, you're in great shape. You're still throwing with your guys you're working with.
Yep.
Could there be an opening, a little window, if it was the right situation?
The door is not closed, and from what I understand, I am up on the Charger board as a possibility, you know, with the San Diego Chargers. But you know what? It's one of those things where I have 4 young children now, you know, a beautiful wife. I'm happy. I live in the San Diego area. It would have to be the perfect opportunity. And you know what? I've been blessed. 18 years professional career. What more could I ask for?
Was there any time when a return to the CFL was possible, or did you have an offer or two that you had to turn down?
You know, I don't think, pursued it seriously. But, you know, that year I went and dabbled in the, oh, wow.
Big hit on Coker. I believe that was Johnny Sears that nails LaMarcus Coker in full flight. Wow.
I guess you don't miss that.
That's a reminder.
Yeah, let's listen to this.
That's the part of the game you don't miss.
Marcellus Bowman.
That's when you better get your right eye checked, because your peripheral vision might not have been there on that one. But no, those are the things I don't miss.
The ice packs the next morning from hits like that.
Recovery period is not good these days.
Cornish down to the 20-yard line. We appreciate the fact that you've never forgotten your CFL roots. We're just saying, plugging a Lions 49ers game coming up. Dave Moyer, our statistician, and I went to watch you beat the Detroit Lions, and you couldn't have been more hospitable at Candlestick on that day 8 years ago. And throughout your NFL career, you always remembered your CFL roots, and we thank you for that.
Absolutely. Never forget where you come from, right? And this gave me the opportunity to really live a dream, live a childhood dream.
Jeff, what do you tell some of the young players in the U.S. that are looking at Canada and thinking, you know, we're on NBC down there now at times? I know a lot of players are asking you and inquiring about Canadian football, and what do you tell those guys down south?
Well, I tell them that, hey, it's a competitive league, highly competitive league. It'd be a great opportunity if you get a door to crack open for you. But I realize now on this side of the business that it is tough to get a door to crack open for you. You have to be somebody special, or somebody has to really like you. You know, I mean, there are a lot of talented players out there. A lot of guys who are sitting at home right now who are just as talented as some of these guys out here. But for whatever reason, they didn't get a look. If they get a look, hey, I promote an opportunity in the CFL without a doubt, because it's a great league.
Oh, what a fine line between success and not making it. As you mentioned earlier on, you don't go 6 for 8, 2 touchdowns against Sacramento in a preseason game. Who knows?
Oh, absolutely. If it would have been a rough day for me, it would have been they could have just told me to take the bus home from there, because I was already back in California.
You're not on the wall. You're not on the wall, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an impressive drive by the Stampeders. 11th play of the drive coming up, and And what a quarterback environment you grew up in here in Calgary, and it's always seemed to be the case.
We went through a stretch there where there was some real quality playing the position, some great decision makers. You know, obviously Doug was a very talented, great player, Doug Flutie, and I was able to watch him for that year and a half and really learn some things from him. And then when I had my opportunity, it was, you know, really take what I know, what I learned from him and apply it. Dave Dickinson, Henry Burris to follow Dave. And then, I mean, Henry, Dave, and I were all on the same team for that Grey Cup run. I mean, you know, all of us had a sniff in the NFL at one point, so. Intelligent.
Paredes ending the drive with a field goal. Jeff Garcia on the wall of fame here in Calgary. Our thanks.
Yeah.
Great to have you here, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. Great to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Great to have Jeff up in the booth with us. A great ambassador of the Canadian Football League. Continues to be that throughout the United States, talking to young players.
Terrence Edwards, a catch, steps out just beyond the 40. Too bad Kelvin Anderson couldn't be here.
Yeah,
passport problems. He couldn't get passport in time. He was Joffrey Reynolds before Joffrey Reynolds here in Calgary. Just an outstanding, reliable, durable.
1,000-yard back every year, and Jeff talked about him and went to BC and had another 1,000 there, but finish his career. But he said many times that he will be back in Calgary when he gets his passport situation sorted out. He's going to come back for a visit.
2nd and 5. Brink steps up, takes off. Malik Jackson and Jawan Simpson are there to meet him before he can get to the first down stick. Always fun watching number 32 to go to work with that. Yes, that gold too. Yeah, he could flash that smile and hit Peter.
Just reliability, just consistency from Kelvin Anderson. Ended up finishing with 9,340 yards rushing with some rushing yards. The BC Lions, that's 6th all time CFL history.
Got replaced by Lawrence Phillips, which was a controversial move at the time, and will go down in history as a major mistake.
A bad move. Yeah, let's just say it like it is.
Here's Coker surrounded, and Enoch Mwamba down in a hurry to make a tackle. James Green does some wrestling, along with Markway McDaniel.
What a great fit that Jeff Garcia was with the Calgary Stampeders. I know it was just 5 years. It seems like so much longer than that with his 16,000 yards. And then I always thought with Dave Dickinson and Garcia's teammates, you had the surgeon in Dave Dickinson and the cowboy, the gunslinger in Jeff Garcia. And it was just a quarterback factory with Wally Buono in charge here in Calgary. And just some great Stampeder years with those quarterbacks at the helm.
Kevin Glenn running the offense now. John Cornish will get cut down. That's Suber stepping up to drop Cornish for a loss as we head into the final minute of this 3rd quarter. Those Stampeder teams back then seemed to be perennial 15-3 when 98, the win on Mark McLaughlin's last-second field goal, but then beaten the next year by Danny McManus and the Hamilton Ticats in the rematch. Glenn setting up the screen, and it's knocked down and nearly picked off as Jason Vega had it go through his hands.
I think he might have looked at the end zone and that goal line just a little bit before he had secured the football, and you can't blame him. I mean, this is something that he doesn't practice very often, is just catching it. Steps up in there, good timing on the jump, right through his hands. He did take a peek. Wide open lane to the end zone.
3rd and 2 and out for the Calgary offense on the night. has to go off. It's Vern Kashama, a former Stampeder, had to take a knee. Looked like he got poked in the eye and makes his way to the sidelines. So Rob Maver, who leads the Canadian Football League in net punting, 37.6 yards. Gets set to kick it away. Damon Washington back. And Washington backpedals, mishandles, in trouble, and way back inside the 10-yard line. Turns it upfield, but just gets beyond the 15. That was an adventure. 62-yard punt, final play, third quarter. John Cornish has had a big night, a couple of touchdown runs for the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League.
Leave what you can start.
Bombers only had 102 net yards in the 52-0 loss at Mosaic. They're over that anyway with 50 in that third quarter.
Well, I'm going to look at the right side column.
Okay.
Bombers are struggling. We know that. We've talked about that. But, you know, there's been some. This is a big night for a couple of players. Nick Lewis hits 10,000. John Cornish is a little below his average, but he's had a big night. And be the second time that Kevin Glenn throws for over 300 yards this season, and what a move that was for John Huffnagel.
So even without Robbie Bryant and Larry Taylor, the weapons have been the usual suspects for the Calgary Stampeders. If you joined us late, Nick Lewis over 10,000, 15th all time. A pass for Simpson incomplete. Bombers a little bit better in that third quarter, but 28 of the yards came on the one run by Chad Simpson. And Alex Brink really hasn't got anything established in the air, but a couple of drop passes in the end zone.
Yeah, the drop pass to Corey Watson makes a big difference. And Joey Elliott didn't get anything going in basically the entire first half. We've mentioned already that Buck Pierce will start next week for Winnipeg. Probably could have started this week. Well, in fact, could have health-wise. Tim Burke decided not.
Here comes Charleston Hughes around the edge. Brink gets away. And now Terrence Edwards has the ball, and he gets tossed out at the 23 by Fred Bennett, short of the first down. What a power rush by Hughes, and Brink did well to avoid it.
But, you know, I mean, Alex Brink and Joey Elliott, you know, have let an opportunity slip through their fingertips here. I mean, this is bigger than just this game and maybe even just this season for those two quarterbacks. I mean, we just had a guy in the booth with us, and Jeff Garcia, who had an opportunity and as he mentioned was almost released by Wally Buono. In fact, would have been if not for a good second half in a preseason game. And when you get your chance to play, no matter what your record or where you are, you've got to perform, and these guys haven't. So what does that say for the future for them, beyond even this year?
Here's McDaniel, up over the 45 to the 50 on the return. Calgary football when we come back early, fourth quarter. Game changers.
Well, tonight one of has been Nick Lewis for the Calgary Stampeders, hit the 10,000 mark. Receiving yards, the 16th player in CFL history to do it.
And how about 13-year-old Ethan Drage, who was nominated to become a Scotiabank game changer because of his work with the Epilepsy Association in Calgary. At 9, he shaved his head to raise awareness for epilepsy. He encouraged his schoolmates to do so. They raised $11,000 the first year, $120,000 to date at Mountain Park School, and he believes anyone can make a difference no matter the age. So hats off to him. And there's a catch by Markway McDaniel down to the Winnipeg 40-yard line.
Markway McDaniel's sort of been hit and miss over the last 5 games. He either comes up with a 4 or 5, 6 catch game, or he's blanked. He's had a couple of games over the last 5 where he hasn't had a catch, and then comes back with 5, 6 catches. He's got that chemistry with Kevin Glenn going back to his days in Hamilton.
5th time he's hit 70 yards or more on the season. First down at the 40. Back into the hands of Cornish, and Good tackle there by Suber. 4 yards, maybe 5 for Cornish. I'll mention off the top, Kevin Glenn was unable to beat Winnipeg last year, 0-3 as a member of the Ticats, and then lost in the Eastern Final as well. But he has been impressive tonight.
Yeah, he really has. Poised for another 300-yard game. And could bump his record overall in his career to a winning record.
And he's going to take a shot for Forzani. He's got it! Touchdown! Let's sort out the flag. Looked like it would be pass interference. Johnny Forzani, his second touchdown of the year pending.
Illegal contact on a receiver, Winnipeg. Number 23. Penalty will be declined. Touchdown.
35-yard touchdown, his second of the year, Johnny Forzani.
And second in consecutive games, Johnny Forzani. Straight go route. That Kevin Glenn's going to split the coverage here. Jonathan Hefney on the inside. It wasn't his man on that illegal contact. He was on Price underneath. Forzani splits the double team and comes up with a touchdown, second.
Paredes adds the extra point as the lead gets even bigger. Johnny Forzani has the first touchdown catch from Kevin Glenn on the night.
Well, he turned around Johnny Sears nicely. Sears got caught in between. Happy birthday wishes for Jessica out there. Johnny Forzani.
Boy, Devon Washington's fought it tonight. But making the most of this one, there is a flag back near midfield. Johnny Forzani starting to pick up the pace after a slow start.
3 catches last week, 56 yards. You're right. He's going to become that deep threat. He's got the speed to be the deep threat.
Holding, Winnipeg, number 33. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Dan West called.
There's Johnny Forzani right there. Let me show the problem that Sears gets into. He's either got to come up and jam him or stay back here and play with cushion. He gets caught in between. He's only about 4 or 5 yards off, and now see how Forzani is able to turn him. He's got to do that blind turn this way to try and catch up, and now Johnny Sears is on the outside looking in. And Johnny Forzani just runs underneath that deep ball.
Bombers start back at their 15. And stacked up after a pickup of about 3 is Chad Simpson.
When you play a guy with speed like that, it's important to get your hands on him. Johnny Sears played in between. Forzani gets him deep, and this one, it's a little uglier for the Bombers. And where do they go from here? I mean,
well, they go to Buck Pierce. We know that.
We know that at quarterback, and that'll be next week. You almost feel like they've got to ride the season out. You can't fire another coach.
Looks like Bo Levi Mitchell's getting ready to come in to finish up for Kevin Glenn tonight, but Alex Briggs looking at second down and 7. In trouble, puts it up, Chad Simpson. And does he have the catch? No. Simpson tried to sell it, but it's ruled incomplete. Pretty good adjustment by the running back to the football, but it looked like it hit the turf.
Boy, it really was. I mean, just to make this close was quite the move. I mean, you expect it from receivers, not necessarily from tailbacks, but it does bounce off the turf. Yeah.
So 8 2-and-outs now for the Bombers on the night. Mike Renaud, line drive kick. McDaniel from his 49 crossing midfield. And a flag flies as McDaniel brought down at the 53. Calgary football when we return.
All right, we apologize. We have temporarily lost the feed from McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where it is 43-3. I'm told now that we have a restored connection. They plugged it back in, Chelsea. They did. I don't know if that's good news for the Bombers or not, but we're going to take you right back down. Rejoin Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Well, we welcome you back to McMahon. We apologize for the technical problems that we've just sorted out, and we get a chance to show you a 50-yard touchdown romp, 53-yard touchdown romp by LaMarcus Coker. And you mentioned the one in Moncton last year. First touch in the Canadian Football League was a 75-yarder. And Coker explosive once again.
Getting a chance to play with John Cornish resting on the sideline. This game well in hand, but watch the speed. He had a 75-yarder first time he touched the ball for the Calgary Stampeders in Moncton, as you mentioned, Chris, and then shows that speed again on this 53-yarder. Look at the cutback on Jonathan Hefney right here, the leading tackler for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Cut right back against the middle, a little more acceleration, hits that fifth gear. And then wants the football, make sure that he secured it when he crossed the plane.
Yeah, lost some luggage in the end zone, but the touchdown had been scored. And Abi Khan, the former Blue Bomber, helped open up the initial hole for LaMarcus Coker.
What happened?
The Bombers might be asking that right now. 44-3. Here's Washington. And Devon Washington out beyond the 40, and a late flag flies as he steps out at the Winnipeg bench. Well, there's Abi Khan, and in a reserve role, some of the backups get a chance to make an impact.
Major foul. Calgary number 47 face mask. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Akwesi Antwi called on the face mask.
There's the guy you're talking about. He's going to pull out from that guard position there. He was out in front. Couple of nice blocks by that offensive line, playing real well. Abi Khan, one of them, just collapses the corner. Javon Johnson.
Yo, Patty, bring oxygen.
Here's Chad Simpson. And Charleston Hughes stuck with him, and Juwan Simpson finishes him off. Hughes had his motor running from the initial snap of the football for Winnipeg tonight. Chad Simpson, 11 carries, 73 yards for the Bombers. Had 74 last week, and it's his 5th time over 70, and we're told there's a Bomber fan in attendance. Yes, there is a Bomber jersey underneath there. Quick jump there by Hughes, and that'll be offside. As Hughes was ahead of the snap.
But didn't hear a whistle, so continued with the play.
Offside. Calgary, number 39. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, the Bombers are going to want to forget their trips to Alberta this year. 42-10 at Commonwealth early in the year, and now 44-3 here in Calgary. So 2nd and 3 after the penalty. Brick, and that's off the hands of Denmark. Pass incomplete, and
well, it's also just the body language of this team, and you know, you can't think of a worse start for Tim Burke to go 52-0 out of the gate on Labor Day weekend in Saskatchewan. It's his first game as a head coach, then to lose a heartbreaker on a tough decision that we showed you as he talked about in the first quarter last week, in the rematch in Winnipeg and then have it handed to him again here in Calgary.
Here's Brink looking downfield, and they've got a connection. There's Clarence Denmark as they convert a third down with a 27-yard pickup to Denmark.
And in fairness to Brink, he has had a few drops. You can consider that Corey Watson one in the end zone and a couple by Denmark. This time, he kind of lays it in there, takes a little off it, and Denmark comes up with a catch on the corner route. And Alex Brink was retreating a little bit. Nice throw as he threw off his back foot.
DeMonte Bolden, Donovan Robinson check in on the defense for Calgary. Bombers still trying to bump the touchdown drought. 3 receivers wide side out of a double tight end. They'll take a shot for Matthews, and it falls incomplete, and it might have been Denmark. Denmark and Matthews in close proximity.
Yeah, too close. I mean, they're not supposed to be that close. My guess would be that Denmark comes into the middle a little bit more and should be pulling that one, so he gives Chris Matthews a chance to get that one-on-one on the outside. And what they do is they fade together. As they fade together here, now the ball's thrown in between them.
Second and 10. Simpson stays in the block. The pass is dropped. Corey Watson can't hang on, but a tough night for a guy who is one of the bright spots in this Winnipeg offense.
Well, and you know what, Chris? I mean, as much as he's shown potential, I mentioned early on that Corey Watson is underachieving. I mean, this is a 9th pick overall in 2010. 0 catches tonight, a drop there, 2 offsides tonight.
Looked like he made that catch, and Cornegay just got in there quick enough with the strip. Third down again, trying to keep it going. And throwing into the end zone, and it falls incomplete. Threw off his back foot, and it doesn't reach Matthews. And the frustration shows as they turn it over on downs.
Double move does not fool Keon Raymond.
So an interception early, now a turnover on downs. And Bo Levi Mitchell gets another series. Matt Walter in a running back spot, then a completion to Maurice Price from the young gunslinger. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Wendy's Asiago Ranch Chicken Club. Wendy's, now that's better.
Well, there's going to be some evaluation going on over the next few weeks in Winnipeg. You can guarantee that. And like they say, the
with the milestone night. Well, it was for Bo Levi Mitchell, and we didn't mention it at the time. This is considered a touchdown pass. That little shovel to Rob Cote is the first. fake to Walter, and fastball into the turf, incomplete. And the punt team will come on. And that might be the first time you see John Hufnagel smile after an incompletion.
Yeah, we better mark that. Doesn't happen very often.
Well, luxury for the Stamps to give Bo Levi Mitchell some reps here. And
Chris Schultz, I think, talked about it in the pregame show, though, about this Calgary Stampeder team that will now win 4 games in a row. 3 of them have been against divisional opponents. Back-to-back Edmonton and the Labor Day back-to-back in Saskatchewan prior to that.
Saskatchewan's next. Good cover downfield by Darius Brooks, but a flag comes down. Calgary will host its 7th win of the season, and that will match the BC Lions.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle, Calgary number 11. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
Malik Jackson gets called.
And for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming into tonight, well, they have to go back and buy a new drawing board. Forget about going back to it. Just struggling in all aspects. I mean, look at their points allowed.
You know, almost 39 points a game coming in, and Calgary will make that even worse with the 44 up tonight. 0-6 on the road. And now Justin Goltz, the 3rd quarterback for the Bombers on the night. And he's going to air it out looking for Matthews, and it's just a stride too far.
Well, that's been what's interesting about 2 weeks ago when the decision was made by the general manager, Joe Mack, to make a move and change the head coach. And Paul LaPolice was fired, Tim Burke took over, and the reasons given were to shore up the discipline issues, fix the offense. And since then, the last touchdown that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have scored offensively were when Paul LaPolice was still their head coach.
Second and 10. Here comes pressure underneath Matthews, the catch. And Chris Matthews is close to the first down. May have come up just a little bit short. We'll see where they spot it. And likely a measurement upcoming. Top to bottom maintenance. Bombers could use top to bottom maintenance and take good care.
Yes, they could. Hey, congratulations to Nick Lewis of the 10,000-yard club, 16th player in CFL history to do that, and to Kevin Glenn passing Dieter Brock, 12th all-time passing yards.
3rd and inches, and the quarterback sneak should have the first down for Goltz. Again, the Bombers next up against Hamilton next Friday at home. 1-6 against the East, or against the West. 0-6 on the road. And in the last 2 road games, 96-3.
Wow.
Been outscored.
Well, you know, it's just, I think the most disturbing thing watching this football team has been the lack of effort for me. I mean, it's one thing when you don't have your starting quarterback in the game, you've got 2 younger guys and you're not executing on offense because of it, or in this case tonight, 3 younger guys with Justin Goltz in the game. it's one thing to say because of the inexperience at quarterback, you're not executing on the offensive side of the ball, but that doesn't excuse the defensive effort or lack of it in this game tonight. I mean, they just did not come and compete. It's as simple as that, and there's no excuses for that.
Second and 4. Simpson's run hard tonight, and down to the 40, has another first down.
You know, and it's never all of the guys. You know, I agree with you. I think Chad Simpson has played hard. He hasn't had a breakout game by any stretch of the imagination. Credit the Calgary defense for that, but he's played hard. I thought Hinak Mwamba played pretty hard in the middle from top to bottom. Chad Simpson has 86 yards rushing tonight. You know, so, you know, they'll go back and find some good performances out of these games, but few and far between.
First down, 4 receivers to the wide side. Look out! The blitz gets home, and Jamar Wall has a sack as he brings down Justin Goltz. Third sack of the night for Calgary.
Taken off the roster last week, comes in this week, and Jamar Wall gets a nice stat as he comes on a blitz, unblocked off the edge. This Calgary team, man, right in the fight. And as they hit the stretch drive here, the back half of the season, the Calgary Stampeders obviously looking at home field in the playoffs with the possibility of catching BC and taking first place in the West.
30th sack against the Bombers this year. Here's Goltz in trouble, trying to avoid another one. Gets away, and he will throw it away. And it will be 3rd and 20. Well, this fall, TSN presents a documentary series that celebrates the 100th Grey Cup. From 8 acclaimed filmmakers come 8 unforgettable stories. Engraved on a Nation begins October 5th here on TSN, and the first of the documentary series will be on Chuck Ely. Chuck Ely, who had an unbeaten college career in Toledo and led the Hamilton Tiger Cats to a Grey Cup victory in 1972. Flag flies.
Illegal substitution. 13 men in the formation. Winnipeg. 10-yard penalty.
Long night gets just a little more uncomfortable.
Well, it's just, it really is. That's the word right now, Chris. I mean, it gets too uncomfortable. I mean, there was a shot behind the shoulder of Tim Burke of a player not dressed, laughing and goofing around. I mean, that uncomfortable is a good way to describe it.
McDaniel up across 25. So just over a minute left to burn, and one more series for Bo Levi Mitchell.
By the way, just one last note on Kevin Glenn, who passed Dieter Brock tonight. And again, congratulations on a guy who's been one of those guys in the Canadian Football League that just maybe never got the respect that he's deserved. He was a game away from leading his team in Winnipeg to a Grey Cup in 07, taking nothing away from the Saskatchewan win that year, of course, but injured in that final. And he passes Dieter Brock. If he stays on his pace, which is about 280 a game with the Stampeders, he could pass Ken Austin into 11th spot this year.
Here's Coker again, trying that right side where he exploded for the 53-yard touchdown. Yes, Glenn will be 67, 66, and 1 in his career. Solid night for him. When you pass Dieter Brock, you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
Well, and over 35,000 yards as well.
And next on the list is Ken Austin. And if he stays on his pace now, he'll pass him before the season's out, because it doesn't look like Drew Tate will be back. I know he'd like to be. But it looks like it'll be Kevin Glenn's show the rest of the way.
2nd and 6 for Coker to hit straight ahead, and LaMarcus Coker has the first down. So Cornish had a couple of touchdowns, and Nick Lewis, milestone night for him, over 10,000 yards, over 700 catches, and he started the season 26. Tonight he passed a couple of former Stampeders, Travis Moore and Jermaine Copeland, and it's his best night of the year with 131 as he keeps climbing the ladder. And we mentioned some of the names. I mean, it's a who's who Nick Lewis is passing. Jim Young, Jim Sandusky, Hal the Prince Patterson, Rocky DiPietro, Tony Gabriel, Bobby Gordon.
Blew by Jock climbing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just blew right by climbing.
Terry Evanson,
yeah,
another former Stampeder great, on his way to the top 10 list. And Stampeders only have to take one more knee to make it official, make them 7-4, their 4th home win of the year. And this one, their most decisive. Well, it's the 10th consecutive win at McMahon for the Calgary Stampeders over a struggling Winnipeg Blue Bomber team. Tim Burke's team has now lost 3 consecutive since the coaching change. Big night for Nick Lewis, John Cornish, a couple touchdowns. 44-3 the final. We say so long from McMahon. SportsCenter is now